Hello Internet, today I'm going to do the ultimate book tag, and as you can tell I've changed locations, and I did this only because that will be next to my bookshelf instead of having to cross across the room every time I need to grab a book for this. So without further ado, I will get into the ultimate book tag. First question, do you get sick reading in the car? This depends. Typically if I read in the car I will get a little bit woozy and I'll have to stop. I'm very motion sickness prone, and so it's kind of a bittersweet thing. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But for example, if I text in the car, I will get so sick. I won't throw up, but I will definitely have a headache. But reading, not so much, so I'm not completely sure what my brain is doing. Which author's style is completely unique to you? I adore Tahara Mafi's writing style. The book that she wrote that I'm in love with is Shatter Me, and you've heard me talk about this a million times, but I'm just going to show you a little bit on the inside how creative she is. Her character is so scatter-minded in the first book of this series that she's so indecisive, she crosses the actual words out, and other than that, her sentence structure is very choppy. Do you prefer the Harry Potter series or the Twilight series? Give 3 explanations of why. So I'm choosing to skip this one for a couple of reasons. First of all, you can obviously see all my Twilight books right here, and I have read the whole series. However, I have not read Harry Potter. And I know that might seem totally weird and bad to you guys, but I wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter. My parents wouldn't let me read anything about witchcraft. So I've never touched a Harry Potter book. I've never seen a Harry Potter movie. I think if I said Twilight, it would just be totally unfair, and I'm not the hugest fan of Twilight either, so I really have nothing to compare it with, therefore, skipping. Do you carry a book bag? If so, what's in it? I used to carry a backpack to and from school. I'm not sure if that's what they mean by book bag, but then I started using the purse that I got from ModCloth, and that has just all my stuff in it, and my books if I'm reading any, so if you want a tour of that, it's more of a beauty guru thing, but I don't care. If you want to see what's in my purse, let me know. Do you smell your books? Not really. Like, I think that whenever I got this copy of the Notebook for my half-price book, this is like a first edition, therefore it's about 10 or 15 years old, oh, it smells like book. It's amazing. But I only smell old books, so I don't know. Do you prefer books with or without little illustrations? Now, I've only read like 1 or 2 books that actually have illustrations. I don't really think it makes a difference. So I don't really care. If it has illustrations, then great. What book did you love reading but later on you discovered it wasn't that good of writing quality? When I was a kid, I had a stack of favorite books, and there was a time where I read a lot and then I kind of lost interest, and then I started reading again. And whenever I got that like reading pike back up after a few years, I went and reread one of my favorite books as a kid. It was a book in a horse's perspective. It was called Chancy or something like that. Wow, that's a throwback. And I used to love that book. It was my favorite book. It was told in the perspective of a blind horse, and so it was just kind of really insightful to me. Then I reread it and I was just kind of like, what? Do you have any funny stories involving books from your childhood? I actually took quite a lot of time to think about this, and I realized I do have one, which is great. So, whenever I was little, I was an addict to the Magic Treehouse series. I had every single book out on my bookshelf in the hallway, and I would just go through them in like an hour or 2. So whenever I was little, this is maybe 4th grade, I would stay up at night and read them. However, my mom would always catch me in my bed reading them under the covers or whatever. So what I would do is I would go lock myself in the bathroom and then read them. I would just put the toilet seat down and sit on the toilet and just read for like 2 hours. And usually my mom didn't discover me, so that's kind of embarrassing, but also kind of hilarious because it shows how much of a rebel I was. What is the thinnest book on your shelf? And by far, that book would be Existence. And to be honest, this is a bit of a taller book, and I'm pretty sure this was just cheaply printed off because it's usually an ebook. But yeah, it's a little tiny. What is the thickest book on your shelf? Reading done. Do you write as well as read, and or do you see yourself being an author when you grow up? And I don't know if it's just a pessimism thing or if I just have an issue, but if I make or write or do something, I will most likely not be proud of it and I will never want to see it again in my life. The same goes for writing. If I write something, I will automatically pick out every single flaw in it and I will never show it to anyone or anything like that. However, people tell me it would be good and I give up because I get so distracted by my own pessimism about my writing that I just give up. So I definitely have to get over all my anger toward what I write and stuff, but I do like to write poetry, which is kind of weird because I'm not that good at it. But yeah, you'll occasionally see if I post on Instagram just one of my little tiny nugget little notepad on my iPhone type poetry things, and I don't know. I think it'd be a cool career. I just don't think I'd be very worthy of it because I don't feel like I have anything to say to an audience. When did you get into reading? So this is kind of a weird question because I loved reading when I was a kid, maybe elementary school, then all throughout probably 5th to 8th grade I just didn't pick up a book, and I don't know, I never even read then. I don't really know exactly what happened, but around 9th grade I just started reading like crazy, and the summer of 2012 is whenever I bought like loads of books off Amazon and I would just fly through them, and so that's why I'm kind of self-conscious about doing a bookshelf tour because I've only been reading books since like June of last year, and so this, in comparison to everything else that all other booktubers have read. What are you doing?
I got into Colorado School of Mines.
Congratulations, I'm filming.
I don't know.
Around June of last year is whenever I started avidly collecting books, and so all of this is just a collection of things from less than a year, and that's why I'm kind of self-conscious about doing a bookshelf tour because I know a lot of YouTubers have many more books than this. Therefore, meh. What is your favorite classic book? And I'm so excited I bought this because I just got this the other day. It's Anthem by Ayn Rand. I love this novella. Wait, it's a novella, does that count? What is your best subject in school? Now this is kind of a back and forth question. Do they mean like core classes or electives, or do they mean do I enjoy it or do I have a good grade in it? Because I'm in painting and I'm in photography and I don't like either of those classes just because the teachers. But I'm great at math, however that's not really what I enjoy doing, so I just don't know. I'm not very good at English and I don't really like it. I'm not very good at history and I don't really like it, so I don't know. It's kind of back and forth. If you were given a book as a present and you've already read it and you hated it, what would you do? And to be completely honest, I would probably return it or give it to half-price books. And it sounds like a terrible thing to say, but if I've already read it, well, first of all, if I own it, then that's kind of useless. Or if I just read it and didn't like it, then I would just not even bother reading it or keeping it. What is a lesser-known series that is comparable to Harry Potter or the Hunger Games series? And I have no idea. I don't really read series that are unknown just because I don't really have time to invest into something like that. However, if there was one book that I could point out, I think it would be the Fallen Star series by Jessica Sorensen. That one's a bit more like Harry Potter than it is the Hunger Games because it's kind of not necessarily wizards, but it does have like witches and all this different magic and stuff, so that's, if you are interested in that, then I think you would like it. There's a bit of romance too. What is a bad habit that you do besides rambling during filming? And I have a lot of guilty as charged. So you know I film in front of a window. You will always see me look out the window during filming. I've had to cut out about 5 instances where I see something out the window and I just pause and I'm like... Also, I repeat words a lot, so if my videos get repetitive, that's probably why. Eep. This is my favorite question so far. It's what is your favorite word? And nerd alert, I have a whole list on my phone of my favorite words. Don't judge me. It's like really long. I think there's about 20 or 30 on there, so I'm just gonna read you the first few. Frothy, superfluous, bungalow, bar mitzvah, figment, marinara, scoot, flesh, requiem, methinks, perhaps, equate, fanciful, etc. Are you a nerd, a dork, or a dweeb? So this is actually kind of gonna turn into an anecdote. The first time I showed my mom a picture of John Green, she said he looked like a dweeb. Therefore, I'm going to go all for dweeb because I'm sticking up for my main man. Vampires or fairies? Vampires. Shapeshifters or angels? Definitely shapeshifters. Spirits or werewolves? Werewolves. Zombies or vampires? Vampires. Love triangle or forbidden love? If I read a book with a love triangle, either the love triangle is weak or it just brings me pain. So therefore I'm gonna go with forbidden love because it's just a lot less strenuous, and I think that it kind of like benefits the plot, kind of like in the selection with what's her face and Aspen. That was great. And finally, would you prefer a full-on romance book or an action book with a little bit of romance? And this to me depends on the characters. For example, in the Divergent series, I think that was perfect with the combination of action and, whoa, I touched something. Action and romance. I would read either of them if that's what the question is implying. Yeah. So that was all, and thank you for watching. I'm not going to say I love you this time because that's getting awkward. Your cough is in my video! Yep, my family's probably made noise this whole video. Let's see if I can cut all that out. Okay, bye.